Hey guys, Mario Peshev here. Let's talk about ideas. A question on Quora that I saw today said, where can I post or probably sell ideas, some working ideas that I can develop on my own due to incapability to do so? And that's a good question. And to be honest, I know a lot of people who are more creative, or you may say they are kind of dreamers. They have lots of faith in some ideas they come up with, and they say, "Oh gosh, if only I had the money and the team and the resource and the networks, and I was going to make that idea a reality." So some of those people, they want to kind of work as something that you may label it as idea generators, people who come up with great ideas and just sell them and make a living out of that. But in reality, ideas don't really matter that much, and ideas aren't worth as much as you can think, unless you have the right procedures in place, unless you have the right environment, the right context, the right ability to make consequences pay for that idea and generate the right return on investment. And I tried to answer this question, so I came up with a list of the 10 main things that a startup needs in order to make an idea worth something. So the first one is obviously an idea. The second one is a solid founding team. So, which means that without the founders, without the pushing forces moving the idea forward, there's not really much value in that, right? You need to have the people running the ship, the captains of the ship, really trusting the idea, really having the skills, the potential, the networks, everything else in order to make it a reality. Number three is market validation. Market validation matters for various reasons, right? You need to know that your idea is worth something. You need to figure out who's your customer, who's your ideal customer, your buyer persona, if you want. You need to validate the fact that your solution is going to solve their problem and they are willing to pay for that. And on top of that, your price range is right on par with what kind of problem they have, what kind of problem they're trying to solve, and how your solution taps into that specific problem. That's extremely important, because I've built some solutions that are really niche, solving a small problem to 10 customers across the entire universe. So I can't charge $50,000 a license, right? It doesn't make sense. And at the same time, I can't sell $50 a piece if I only have 10 clients in the world. Again, the math doesn't really make sense. Or it may be a fix that just isn't worth paying for. That's also a problem. Number four is having at least a couple of decent channels to sell. Could be a great sales team, marketing, PR, branding of the founding team, anything else that lets you scale. For example, you've seen some young, unbeknownst startups launching on Mashable or TechCrunch and making millions out of it. But in order to get featured on TechCrunch, you have to have a pretty outstanding idea, or know journalists, or be able to do PR properly, or have a founder that has consecutive, successful stories, or anything along those lines. So without that, this may not work. Sales team is the same thing. If you don't have the right people, you're not really going to generate to close the deals that you're looking forward to. Same goes with marketing and so on. Number five, a strong recruitment strategy. If your business is successful, let's assume that your idea is great, you have a product market fit, great founding team, and so on. The next step, what you need next really, is being able to sell that idea and being able to make a lot of money out of it. But you still need people, whether they're developers or marketers or sales support, anything else that needs to make the idea scalable in the long run. So unless you have the great recruitment strategy, unless you know that you can get access to the people in your market, have the right onboarding plan for them and so on, it's not really going to work either. Number six is the ability to close investment opportunities. Now, I'm going to admit that this is not necessarily important. You can bootstrap a business, it happens all the time. One of the founders may put some money up front. You can use credit cards, loans from friends and family. Those are different ways to make an idea worth something without an investment plan. But in the long run, for a fast-paced growing startup, you still need some form of an investment, and you need to make sure that you have the right skills and opportunities and contacts in your network who can make that happen. Number seven is a robust growth plan, which means that you can prevent crashes when your business starts growing. And lots of businesses actually forget about that. I still remember when we were about 5 people or so, we had pretty much 2 Skype group channels for the entire communication in our company. we had a project management system which was pretty much almost obsolete. We didn't really pay that much attention to it. And now, about 30 people added to that team. We can't really live without a project management system, bug tracking platform, a CRM, and a lot of other tools. We work with HubSpot. We are an agency partner. We do marketing automation with HubSpot, a bunch of other things. We do have managers on site. We do have people leading entire initiatives. We do have QA team and so on, because once you start scaling, it doesn't really mean adding more people just to the puzzle. You need more processes in place. You need some management procedures in place. You need some people who can stick around, and so on and so on and so on. So it gets a little bit trickier. Number 8 is automating processes and technology efficiently. If you run a technological product, of course, the more you automate, the better it gets. Like for former clients of ours, he had 30 writers full-time, editorial process sucked, and he said, well, I really wish there was a way to save some time. So we did some R&D and so on. Long story short, we ended up building something that saved 2 hours a week of each of their writers, which means 30 people by 2 hours a week, saving 60 hours a week, or a top of about 240 hours a month, every single month, just by building one specific feature. That sort of automation helps you scale, helps you work more efficiently, more effectively, and generate more in a shorter amount of time. Number 9, generating tons of profit. Of course, if the first eight steps are a plus, you're going to make a living, you're going to grow steadily. And number 10 is usually the exit. So I'm just going to sum them up once again. So you have the idea, you have the founding team, you have a product market fit, which is of course important, some selling mechanism, sales, marketing, PR, a strong recruitment strategy, the ability to close some investment, a robust growth plan, automating process and tech efficiently, tons of profit, and exit. So that's kind of the story of most successful startups that were led to an exit, right? So if you think about it, and when we get to the initial point of just having an idea, the idea itself isn't really worth anything. But if you have a lot of ideas, so if you're one of those people with tons of ideas, you basically have two different ways to make it happen. The first one is learning a lot about all of the other aspects. So if you have an idea alone, but this idea hasn't been validated with the market, you don't really think about the founding team, about recruitment, about sales, growth, anything of that list, it's not really going to be worth anything, right? It's just not going to work. And that's extremely important. So the more you know about the rest of the process, the easier it is to create and spark ideas that are actually helpful and that can fit specific business needs. And that's super important. Best case scenario, of course, you can just start a startup, spend a shitload of time on it, and make sure it works at the end of the day. So that's, of course, number 1. But number 2, there's one other hack that I kind of like, and we do have a couple clients, maybe 3 clients that actually do that. They have their own companies, but they also do consulting on the side. And they do consulting for different non-profits, for private equity firms, for companies acquiring other businesses, for business development firms, and so on. So those types of businesses, they need some form of evaluation of an existing company in order to decide whether they need to invest in it, whether they can acquire it, and so on. So, or you can work directly with clients. So if you can analyze the business, you still need some extra skills. But if you can analyze the business and find a missing opportunity that can help monetization, that can help bring in more profit and more money on the table, you may work in that specific ideation department. You may be some form of a growth hacker or whatever they call it nowadays, and just focus on that idea thing. But again, you need to understand the business. So you need to go to a company, you need to understand more about their business goals, business development plans, who works on what are their main problems, what are they, how are they trying to compete with their, again, competitors. And having that, you can say, okay, I see a niche opportunity here. You need to do ABC, you need to hire, or allocate 2 people full-time on that idea for 6 to 12 months, invest this. Those are the opportunities for networking, for generating extra revenue, or whatever be it. So this is going to be a golden opportunity. But if you come with an idea alone, that's not really worth as much as you may think. And that idea should be applicable to a specific context. So you need to find a company that has the same compatible culture, the team, the founding members, everything else in order to make that business successful. So just keep it in mind. If you're an idea person, either start a startup yourself, keep learning a lot about the other stages of the process, or try to join an organization that really needs your specific type of skill.